When the sun goes down and the world quiets, some stories never rest. They linger in the shadows, etched into the memories of those who pursue justice, and torment the hearts of families left behind. These are the tales of cold cases, unsolved crimes that refuse to let go, haunting investigators and armchair detectives alike. Today on Chilling Mysteries, we're delving into 5 cold cases that still haunt investigators to this day. These are not just mysteries, they are real tragedies, with real victims, and real questions that demand answers. Some may be familiar, others you may have never heard of, but each one remains a chilling reminder that not all stories have endings. Let's begin our journey into the unknown with a case that has baffled investigators for nearly half a century: the disappearance of the Sauter children. Christmas Eve, 1945, Fayetteville, West Virginia. The Sauter family home was filled with laughter and anticipation. George and Jenny Sauter, along with their 9 children, were ready for the holiday. But at around 1 a.m., tragedy struck. A fire broke out, engulfing the house in flames. George, Jenny, and 4 of their children managed to escape, but 5 Sauter children, Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny, and Betty, were nowhere to be found. As the flames died down and the ashes cooled, the haunting questions began. No remains of the 5 missing children were ever found in the rubble. Investigators at the time concluded the children had died in the fire, but the Sauters refused to believe it. There were too many odd details. The telephone line to the house had been cut. A ladder, always kept at the side of the house, was missing. A strange man had been seen watching the children just days before. And perhaps the most unsettling clue: a mysterious phone call in the early hours, with an unfamiliar voice asking for someone who didn't live there. The Sauter family spent the rest of their lives searching for their lost children. They put up billboards, traveled the country, and followed every lead, no matter how tenuous. Over the years, there were reported sightings of the children, a mysterious photograph sent to Jenny Sauter decades later, and rumors of an elaborate kidnapping. Nearly 80 years have passed, but the fate of the Sauter children remains a haunting mystery. Did they perish in the fire, or were they taken in the chaos of that fateful night? For the investigators who have pored over the evidence and the descendants who still search for answers, the case remains a chilling reminder that sometimes, the truth is buried deeper than ashes. Moving forward in time, yet no less disturbing, we arrive in Pennsylvania for our next cold case. One that continues to grip anyone who hears it: the boy in the box. February 25, 1957. In the Fox Chase neighborhood of Philadelphia, a college student wandering through a wooded area stumbled across something horrifying. The body of a small boy, estimated to be around 4 to 6 years old, wrapped in a plaid blanket and placed inside a cardboard box that once held a bassinet. The child was naked, malnourished, and bore signs of prolonged abuse. His hair had been crudely cut, possibly after death, and there were mysterious scars on his body. Most striking of all, no one came forward to claim the boy. No missing persons report matched his description. He was simply unknown. The case shocked the city. Investigators worked tirelessly, checking orphanages, hospitals, and adoption agencies. His fingerprints and footprints were taken, and thousands of flyers were distributed. Yet, the identity of the boy in the box remained elusive. Theories abounded. Was he an abandoned child from a local foster home? A victim of human trafficking? Or perhaps the secret child of someone with something to hide? Each theory led to dead ends. Over the decades, the boy's body was exhumed twice, in 1998 and again in 2019, in hopes that advances in forensic technology could crack the case. DNA samples were collected, and the case was entered into national databases. In late 2022, investigators finally identified the boy as Joseph Augustus Zarelli. Yet, even with a name, the mystery endures. Who killed Joseph? Why did no one come forward for so many years? For investigators, the case is far from closed. They continue to search for the person or persons responsible for his tragic death, determined to bring justice for the boy in the box, a child whose silence has haunted Philadelphia for generations. Our next chilling case takes us to the Pacific Northwest, to a story that has inspired countless theories and remains one of the most famous unsolved disappearances in American history: the vanishing of Maura Murray. February 9, 2004, Haverhill, New Hampshire. 21-year-old Maura Murray, a nursing student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, emailed her professors and supervisors, claiming she would be away due to a family emergency, an emergency that didn't exist. She packed her car with belongings, withdrew nearly all the money from her bank account, and set off northward. Hours later, her car crashed into a snowbank along Route 112. A local resident called 911, reporting the wreck. When police arrived less than 10 minutes later, Maura was gone. Her keys, credit cards, and cell phone were missing. There were no footprints in the snow leading away from the scene, and no sign of struggle. Despite extensive searches of the surrounding woods, rivers, and roads, no trace of Maura has ever been found. The case quickly captured national attention. Was Maura running from something, or someone? Did she stage her disappearance to start a new life, or did she become the victim of foul play? Some believe she succumbed to the frigid elements, while others suspect an abduction. Over the years, hundreds of tips and alleged sightings have poured in, but none have led to answers. Investigators have followed leads across the country, even as conspiracy theories and internet sleuths have complicated the case. For Maura's family and for the detectives who have devoted years to unraveling her fate, the unanswered questions remain a source of endless frustration and heartbreak. What happened to Maura Murray on that cold February night? Until the truth is uncovered, her case will continue to haunt those who seek it. From the snowy woods of New Hampshire, we turn to the dusty outskirts of Oklahoma City, where another case casts a long, dark shadow, the mysterious disappearance of Kristen and Casey McFarland. May 28, 1987. The McFarland sisters, Kristen, age 10, and Casey, age 7, left their family's apartment on the north side of Oklahoma City, intending to visit a nearby convenience store less than 3 blocks away. Witnesses remember seeing the girls laughing and holding hands as they walked down the street. But somewhere along that short journey, they vanished. A massive search was launched. Police, volunteers, and even the National Guard scoured the area, searching fields, drainage ditches, and abandoned buildings. Tips poured in, including reports of a suspicious green car and an unidentified man near the store. Despite the efforts, no trace of the girls was ever found. The McFarland case became one of Oklahoma's largest missing persons investigations. Over the years, new detectives have revisited the evidence, hoping that advances in technology might shed light on the girl's fate. Yet, every lead has fizzled out. The case remains unsolved, a chilling example of how children can simply vanish, leaving families and investigators tormented by what-ifs and unanswered questions. For the detectives who have worked the McFarland case, the memory of Kristen and Casey remains vivid. Their photos still hang in police stations, a reminder of innocence lost in a case that refuses to fade. Someone, somewhere, knows what happened on that May afternoon. Until that person comes forward, the McFarland sisters' disappearance will continue to haunt those who search for the truth. Our final case today is a story that still evokes fear, fascination, and outrage nearly a century later, the Villisca Axe murders. June 10, 1912, Villisca, Iowa. The Moore family, Josiah, Sarah, and their 4 children, along with 2 overnight guests, the Stillinger sisters, were found brutally murdered in their home. Someone had entered the house late at night, wielding an axe, and slaughtered all 8 occupants as they slept. The scene was horrific. All the victims had been bludgeoned with the blunt end of the axe, their faces unrecognizable. The killer had covered the mirrors and windows with cloths and sheets, perhaps to hide from prying eyes, or to avoid seeing the aftermath of his own crime. The investigation was immediate and intense. Suspects ranged from local rivals to transient workers and even a traveling preacher. But every lead seemed to evaporate. The murder weapon was found in the house, wiped clean. No fingerprints, no footprints, no confession. Over the years, the Villisca Axe murders have become one of the most infamous unsolved crimes in American history. The house still stands, now a grim tourist attraction, and the case is still open. Modern investigators have reviewed the evidence, but the passage of time has erased any hope of a clear resolution. Was it a random madman, or someone the family knew? Why did the killer spare no one? And how did he vanish into the night without a trace? Historians and detectives alike are haunted by these questions. The Villisca killer's identity remains a mystery, a shadow that looms over the small Iowa town more than a century later. The case is a stark reminder that evil can walk undetected, and even the closest-knit communities can harbor secrets that refuse to die. As we reflect on these 5 cold cases, one thing becomes clear. Behind every unsolved crime is a ripple effect of pain, confusion, and obsession that spans generations. Families grow old waiting for answers. Detectives retire, still haunted by the cases they couldn't close. Communities are left with scars that never fully heal. Why do these cases grip us so tightly? Perhaps it's because we yearn for justice, for resolution in a world too often defined by chaos and uncertainty. Each mystery is a puzzle, a challenge to our collective sense of order. We want to believe that every crime can be solved, every victim avenged, every story given closure. But the reality is far more chilling. Some cases remain out of reach, their answers buried by time, silence, and fear. Yet, there is hope. Advances in forensic science, DNA analysis, genealogy, digital records, have breathed new life into cases once thought unsolvable. Families and investigators alike cling to the possibility that one day, the truth will come out. Sometimes, all it takes is one new clue, one person willing to break their silence, or one determined detective who refuses to give up. If you're watching this and you know something, anything, about these cases, remember that justice is never truly out of reach. Even the coldest case can be solved with the right information. For those whose lives were forever altered by these tragedies, every lead matters. Thank you for joining us on this journey through 5 cold cases that still haunt investigators today. Which of these mysteries chills you the most? Do you have a theory about what happened in any of these cases, or do you know of another unsolved crime that deserves attention? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to Chilling Mysteries for more deep dives into the world's most unsettling true crime stories. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and remember, some mysteries are only waiting for the right person to solve them.